So that moves us to number 10 on our agenda, the approval of the minutes of the May 6th, 2024 board meeting. Do I have a motion, Mr. Hogan?
Yeah, let me make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 6, 2024 board meeting.
Do I have a second? Mr. Satterfield, I saw his hand. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion carries 7-0. That brings us to public participation. Just for the record, the board welcomes and encourages public participation. We respectfully ask that you adhere to the procedures provided in Board Policy BEDH, Public Participation at Meetings. Your comments should be limited to 3 minutes and must remain on either the topic noted on your sign-in form or a listed agenda item. Questions asked during public participation will be handled in accordance with Board Policy BEDH. And I will turn it over to Ms. Taylor for public participation.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first speaker tonight is Dr. Maxine Reeves Sumter, here to speak about the referendum.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Dr. Ross. My name is Maxine Reeves Sumter, and I am a lifelong member of IRMO. I graduated from IRMO High School in 1970. I attended Richlex High School from first grade to 1968 when that school was closed. And I'm here to comment on item 13 on the action agenda, referencing the proposed referendum, specifically bringing the name Richlex back to the district. I strongly support bringing back the name Richlex to a school in the district. I support bringing it back to give it honor, to give it its rich legacy, its history, its dignity, and the respect that it so richly deserves. And also the respect that the former administrators deserve, the former faculty, the former staff, and certainly the students. They all rightfully deserve this name to be restored. And they are contributing members of this society and this community. Some have gone on to achieve great things. I can attest to that. But I believe that we need to do this and make sure that we honor, I'm going to repeat these words, that we bring dignity back, honor to honor the legacy, not just a name to attach to something that does not give honor. I want to be real clear about that. And I believe that we can work together on a plan to accomplish this. And so I am grateful for the opportunity of your time. And I, again, want to be really clear, because some things you can put with a name that does not give honor and dignity. And that's what I'm here to say. There are certain programs, and we have to be very careful about that may not be positive, okay? So I'm here to speak very candidly about that. I am a product of this community, of IRMO High School, and of Richlex. So I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.
Jason Bainham is here to speak about teacher pay.
Good evening, Board, Dr. Ross. My name is Jason Bainham, and I'm a parent of 3 girls in our district. We've had a wonderful experience with teachers and assistants in our district, and that is why teacher pay and compensation is so important to myself and many others. Our district will have a surplus of over $4 million left this year, which was intended to be used for education, but is slated to go towards building projects. While it is important to have top-notch facilities, we must first focus on teachers, learning, and classrooms. We have neighboring districts and others statewide who have increased their pay ranges starting at $50,000 and also giving pay increases of up to $7,500. I've had numerous teachers and staff members share that they have to work second jobs due to pay and lack of bonus opportunities. Currently, what opportunities do our teachers have to increase their pay? They will need to work on higher educational degrees, promotion, or move districts. The yearly increases help very little, unfortunately, due to inflationary issues across the country. Many are still themselves working to pay down their own student loans and take care of their families. I have personally seen family members and friends who are teachers pay for necessary supplies in their classrooms and students from their own pocket. This just illustrates that their heart for teaching and drive to see success in a student's life. Teachers in general teach not only as a job, but as a service. It is usually a personal calling to help students learn and excel in school and to prepare them for life. Again, buildings and projects are needed from time to time and can be very beneficial, but we must never place those before our people. Teacher pay, rewards, and bonus opportunities must come before building projects. If our district doesn't step up to take care of our teachers financially, we will have beautiful but empty buildings. Let's help our teachers and our students. Thank you.
William Bowman Jr. is here to speak about the referendum.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ross and board members. I want to thank you so much for the work that you do day in and day out and how you support this district. My name is William Bowman. I'm here today to show my support for the resolution on tonight's agenda, and I hope that you will adopt the resolution ordering the referendum question to appear on the general election ballot in November 24. Born and raised here in Irmo, I'm a proud graduate of Irmo High School, as well as my son, and today I continue to live and be actively involved in a variety of organizations within the district. Specifically, I would like to call your attention to the importance of renaming the current Dutch Fork Elementary School back to Rich Lex. My mother, Miss Sarah E. Bowman, was a sixth grade teacher at Rich Lex until its closure. And while I was a wee bit too young to attend the school there, I vividly remember times going to school with my mother and other teachers and faculty and staff and members, football games and school buses. Those are my memories of Rich Lex. With the progress of integration, my mother, as well as many others, were challenged to find employment elsewhere outside of District 5. I believe that this referendum would help to restore the history and the dignity of all the former students, faculty, and staff of Rich Lex High School and provide an opportunity to correct this important part of our district's history. Thank you for your time.
Larry Haltewanger is here to speak about the resolution ordering the referendum.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Ross, Ms. Snipes. When I came here, I thought you were bringing back an old show called Queen for a Day, honestly, but happy birthday to you as well, okay? Thank you so much, as Mr. Bowman and Dr. Sumter said, for your service that you have given to Lexington Richland 5 in this community. Dr. Ross, on behalf of the Rich Lex alumni and some which are present today and the former students, we thank you so very much for the time you took last week to come and share the vision for Rich Lex as well as Dutch Fork Elementary. Thank you so very much for coming to do that. We want to also let you know that Dr. Ross has our support in this resolution, and we expect you all, or a majority of you, to give your approval to move forward with this proposal or referendum tonight. So why do you do this? Why are we doing this? First of all, it's needed. Dutch Fork Rich Lex was built in 1953. If my math is correct, that's 71 years. So how long do you expect a building like that to stand and be safe without major upgrades and renovations? Dutch Fork Elementary is rated in the category of extremely worn, damaged, or inoperable. So the need to build is obvious. The school district has an estimated $34 million of critical needs, and you only have $15 million of capital funds available. So do the math. And number two, it's the right thing to do. I graduated from Rich Lex in 1967. And in 1968, following integration, our school was named Irmo Junior High School then Dutch Fork Elementary. Why? Why change the name? No reason to change the name except for selfish or self-centered reasons. Sometimes in life, we have an opportunity to, I call, right or wrong. So you, my brothers and sisters, you have this unique right tonight to right or wrong that none of you had anything to do with, quite honestly. And as a matter of fact, most of you weren't even born in 1968 as I look around the board. So I don't know what Mr. Floyd, Mrs. Floyd, Judge Boulware, Mrs. Bowman, Ms. Corley, Levan, Riley, Mr. and Mrs. Kinley, Mr. Haley, Godbow, and my brother, Dr. Cecil Halterwanger, would and other teachers are doing in heaven, but I believe if they could speak to me or my fellow classmates tonight, they would say, job well done, thy good and faithful servants, to students who have done a remarkable job to make this community a better place to live. Thank you so very much.
Kim Murphy is here to speak about the bond referendum and budget.
According to your financial reports, the 2023 operating budget brought in almost $4 million more than was needed to meet the budget. $4 million was over-collected from taxpayers. Because there were extra tax dollars collected, that means that the millage rate was higher than it needed to be by almost 13 mils. Then, for this year's budget approved in June last year, even though the 2023 millage rate was excessive, the board majority approved a much higher millage rate. The 246 mils, which was 13 mils higher than it needed to be, was increased to 266 mils, a 20 mil increase, even though enrollment in the district decreased. I believe the administration made this recommendation last year knowing it would bring in extra tax dollars. So much so that the proposed 2025 budget that you are voting on tonight would not require the board to vote on a millage rate increase. Does last year's millage rate increase that was so big that it wouldn't require a millage rate this year have anything to do with appearances? And your vote also tonight on the $243 million referendum, which will increase taxes? Unfortunately, this overtaxing has been a trend for many years. But my feeling, which is well documented, that the lack of a millage rate increase for the proposed budget tonight, which is due to the huge millage rate increase last year, isn't just to look fiscally responsible in advance of a bond referendum. It is to bring in extra tax dollars under the guise of needing it for the operating budget to pay our teachers, operate our schools, and educate our children, but rather to use it on things that are not related to the operating budget. We are being overtaxed for things that are not itemized on the operating budget under the guise of needing it for the operation budget. A budget that has 2 public readings, a public hearing, and that money, millions, is being earmarked for the future, for portables, buildings, and bond referendum-related projects. And those costs being earmarked without going through the same budget process as the operating budget should stop. It's being hidden from us, and I think it's intentional. How about this? Instead, use capital money for capital costs and put the earmarked money back in education budget. Also, you're voting tonight to ask voters to support a $240 million bond referendum, but you haven't even seen how much those projects are going to cost to operate and staff, funds that will come out of the operating budget and to maintain those facilities. If you vote to approve the referendum tonight without that information, what kind of due diligence have you done? One more comment. Since you are going to remove portables at Lake Murray Elementary because of decreased enrollment, how about spending that $1.5 million that you're earmarking for new portables, put that back in education, and use the portables that are existing at Lake Murray? Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, our final speaker tonight is Marion Boyd Sr. to speak about the Rich Lex Foundation.
Good evening, board members and District Representatives. I'm Marion Boyd Sr. I'm a graduate of Rich Lakes High School. The school that I loved, the only place we could go back in the time. The law says that they built a black school for black students, that we couldn't go to a white school, and white schools' children couldn't come to a black school. We cherished that school, and I still cherish it because Mama taught there, all of our black teachers taught there. They taught us how to be respectful, how to be compromised, and how to be good citizens in the state of Irmo. Irmo was a predominant black town at that time. And all the place we knew was black. We couldn't walk down the highway because we would get attacked. And know who we get attacked by? People riding buses when it snowed. We had to have paths on both sides of the road, right side, back side, so we could come home and go to school. And you think I'm gonna forget that? A school where I went and where I loved. A place where we could walk, we could talk, and Granddaddy took us to school. He took the girls first, because when it rained, the girls had to be looked out for. He rode them down the road in the car and came back and picked up the boys. But we were tough boys. We had to walk to school. I'm not going to ever forget. I still live on Lake Murray Boulevard. And I passed by Rich Lakes High School. You can't even read the name on the sign up there. Because nobody recognized Rich Lakes High School was a place I will never forget. That's my home. That's my love. Do you have something that you love that you don't want to give up? My twin brother and I used to walk to school every morning, and all my brothers and sisters used to walk to school. We didn't never miss a day, because if we did something wrong in school, the teacher would be home before we got there, telling us what we were doing. That's why we were so well disciplined. You didn't have the destruction in school back then that you have now. You didn't have no teacher suspending students from school like you have now. I want that name changed back to Rich Lakes, so when I ride down that road, I can see where I come from. I can tell my grandchildren, this is where Granddaddy went, or where Poppy went. Why can't we do that? What is so hard about that? What's the problem? Why can't we just come to a compromise, send us back home? Thank you.
All right, thank you. That concludes public participation.